All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Rollin with Hayes, under the umbrella, so we don't get caught up in anything. 2 a.m. in Sweden. We're excited to have you guys just to talk about sports again. This is going to be another in-depth one. Tomorrow, you'll end up getting your episode of blending the sports and crypto together. We're going to go in depth on so many different things. We have another week of focusing on the NFL in a different division, so I'm excited to end up talking about that. And we'll be in the AFC South, and the last division will be the AFC East after that. But kind of just drilling into everything, focusing on everything that's going on in the NBA. So the conference finals are set. And what I mean by that is we have the East and we have the West. On the East side, we have the Celtics going up against the Pacers. On the West, we have the Timberwolves going up against the Mavericks. So two exciting finals that we have, conference finals, that are going to be going on. I'll start with the East and break that down, then go over to the West of things. So looking at the East, just kind of how it is, the Celtics have just looked better than everyone from start to finish. It's one of those things you can't really deny. Looking at it, you have Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Al Horford, Drew Holiday. That's kind of been most of the starting lineup that they've ended up going with. Overall, Kristaps Porzingis has been injured, so if they can give him a little more rest, then he'll be back in it. For the past 2 to 3 years, they just had this window of the Celtics have just been doing it. And they really need to get it done this year. Another thing that I have heard and what I've noticed, Tatum hasn't had to have that moment yet. And that I don't think he's going to need to do it in the Eastern Conference Finals. But when it comes to the finals, he's going to need to do it. They're playing the Pacers. The Pacers went 7 games with the Knicks. The Knicks were injured a lot. So that's a big thing in that series. It just was a lot of injuries. Coach Thibodeau did run those guys to the ground, and you just saw all those minutes just started to take a toll on them. They didn't get a lot of rest. Yes, I know they can do it, but should they do it is the big question. And the answer to that is no. I don't think that they should do that. But kind of just drilling into it more, when you just look at it, I don't think the Pacers have what it takes. I don't think any position's going to be able to. Yes, you have Al Horford that's going to have a tough time when it comes to probably their bigs, but that's the only thing. Other than that, I think the Celtics should be fine. You're probably going to have Tatum guarding Pascal Siakam. You're going to have Drew Holiday on Tyrese Halliburton. And then Jaylen Brown will have his matchups with various different players over there. Looking at it from the West side, we have the Timberwolves and the Mavericks. I've said this all along, that whoever wins that Timberwolves against the Nuggets series is kind of going to be the championship. And you can kind of see it more that the T-Wolves just had their way when that run happened. During the whole game, it wasn't like that, but when the Timberwolves ended up getting in that long run, they just were doing it. Anthony Edwards didn't even have a good game in Game 7. For anyone that says Edwards had a good game, they're lying to you, because he did not have a good game. And they played that way. Karl-Anthony Towns stepped up, and that's the Karl-Anthony Towns we need. Nobody needs to see that 50, 60-point game Karl-Anthony Towns, because that's going to get you a loss almost every single time. You need defense, what they did, and it's going to be exciting to end up seeing this Timberwolves series. The Mavs definitely just had the more experience over the Thunder. The Thunder were not some people are saying the Thunder were one of the worst number 1 seeds. They were not. They were young. SGA is solid, and they're going to be fine. They're going to be back. If you look at it, the Mavs, Timberwolves, and Thunder all were not highly ranked teams last year. Some even struggled to get into the playoffs. And look at where they are. When you put a coach, when you just give another year, things happen. Anthony Edwards is young, so you were able to give him more time in the league, more time with his core nucleus, Rudy Gobert, another year. It just shows you. So that was a great trade. And peep this. The GM who put that team together, the same GM that put the Nuggets together, go figure. Just shows you what some GM minds can do. And it worked out fully. So, Mavs against the Timberwolves, just from a breakdown of position by position, it's going to be Anthony Edwards on defense guarding Kyrie. Kyrie on defense is more than likely guarding Michael Conley, if anything. Then going to the other matchups, Luka is going to be guarded by Jaden McDaniels, more than likely. I don't think Naz Reid's going to be on him a lot. I doubt it. Then with the bigs, PJ Washington or Derek Jones are going to be guarding Anthony Edwards. And then looking at it from the next perspective, you will have the bigs. So that's the one I do want to see. Who you don't really have to guard Rudy Gobert. Just you have to guard him in the middle, but in terms on the perimeter, you don't really have to worry about that. So I would just throw one of the bigs on him. I can see Gafford having to play a lot of minutes in this series because he's going to be guarding both of them, more than likely. And then looking at it from who I believe are the X factors, one, Anthony Edwards is going to have a great series. He can't have a 16-point game series, but he doesn't have to do a lot of work. He just needs to be that leader and score big buckets when it counts. You can also see in Game 7, Jaden McDaniels was a big reason why they did it. So McDaniels having a solid game will be big because Kyrie, Luka, and Anthony Edwards, and more than likely Karl-Anthony Towns are going to cancel each other out. So who's going to be that next X factor to step up? You know Kyrie's going to put up 30 some games. Luka, same thing. Anthony Edwards going to have a big game. Karl-Anthony Towns going to put up a 20. Is it going to be PJ Washington? Is it going to be Derek Lively? Is it going to be Derek Jones? Is it going to be Naz Reid? One of the other ones are going to have to step up to be that X factor. And I think McDaniels does play an important role. I think that he can be one of those X factors again, because if he gets scoring, that's solid. Michael Conley, you're not expecting him to give you a lot of buckets, but he will give you timely buckets, which is an important thing. Looking at it from the East side, there's no need to be an X factor, but if we have to end up choosing an X factor, make it Peyton Pritchard or somebody, because the regulars are going to step up for the Celtics. Looking at it from a perspective on the Pacers side, you have to end up focusing in on Siakam needs to step up, Miles Turner needs to step up, and McConnell has to play a big game as well from multiple different perspectives. When they go to the bench, McConnell's going to need to rise. Of course, Neesmith is going to need to play big minutes, but I think Miles Turner is going to have to be important too. Tyrese Halliburton's going to get a lot of that coverage from Drew Holiday. You already know how that's going to go. And then if you look at it from the other perspective, Pascal Siakam should be able to have a solid amount of importance. Tatum's a good defender. I wouldn't say he's an elite defender. So Siakam should be able to put up buckets over there. But what I'm saying through all of this is, if you look at some of the midseason trades that did happen, or trades that happened a little before the season, I love to see these players in new situations, and it's a big impact on the team. Daniel Gafford was on the Wizards, went to the Mavericks, which you love to see. Amazing. Putting himself in a playoff position and a push for the championship. The Celtics, of course, they got Kristaps Porzingis, which you just love to see. Another one that was on the Wizards, and he's in a good situation. Then you look at it from the other side. Well, you look at it from the Pacers. Pascal Siakam was on the Raptors, and now look where he is now. You just love to see these type of trades and situations happen for these players. Timberwolves didn't really do as much right now. A lot of their core nucleus was there from the year before. If you look, they showed the picture of when D'Angelo Russell was on that team. And I'm just happy for the Timberwolves overall from where they were to kind of where they are going now. But that's everything in terms of those games. Make sure you're looking at certain WNBA games. So I'm excited to kind of see that too. But until next time, this is Hayes, AO Shifty. We out.